Is he good? Okay. Y'all good? Thank you, sir. Welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Tarrant County Hospital District Public Facility Corporation. This is not a meeting that's going to require a vote today. There is a presentation, so we don't have to worry about having too many people here for a quorum, but Max Whipple is here with NRP, and for those of you that haven't driven by in a while, Max, on your way up, impressive facility, looks great in this part of town. It's going to add a lot to what goes on, not only in the south side, but certainly for JPS. And I don't have any reports or actions other than to be able to have Max walk us through, but this project is ahead of schedule. This project is going to give us really a new dimension, not only of diversification of revenue, but a new dimension when it comes to the attractiveness of JPS for our residency programs. And I'm really hopeful that this is not the last time we do this, because it's been wildly successful, and I look forward to it continuing to grow. So Max, welcome. We will ask you to walk us through where you are. You've got a report, and we'd love to hear from you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks. Good to see you all again. It feels like just a month or two, but I mean, we're going on almost a year since we had the groundbreaking at the property last fall. And just wanted to update you guys on where we're at. As Trent mentioned, we're moving much quicker than expected, which is a pleasant thing to see. As obviously when we were trying to close the project, it took a little bit longer than we wanted. So just a little update on the project, a little background on how we got to where we are today, and kind of some of the next steps from here. So with that said, I think we're good to go. So a little bit background on who we are as a company. We are operating in 17 states across the country. Texas is really the heart of our company, though. We do over 50% of our development volume in the state of Texas, really focused on the major metros, so Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston. I am based in Houston, but as I mentioned, we're very active across all of the major metroplexes. We do handle the development, construction, and management of our assets. So, I'm the same person you guys saw for the last 4 or 5 years on this project as it's gone through construction, as we've had, small little hiccups. I've been there to help address those issues, and as we move into the property management stage, I'm still always going to be available. You guys will have my phone number if there's ever issues. Obviously, we hope that's not the case, but that is one thing we really pride ourselves on is, we're going to be long-term owners of this project as well with you guys. This is not something that's going to be built and sold, and now you're dealing with some strangers that you guys have never interacted with. So, again, we don't hope for any issues, but if those types of things arise, we're always there to help assist with those. Just touching on our presence, again, we've developed over 30,000 units across the state, the majority of those being affordable housing, workforce housing units, the majority of those being public-private partnerships as well. So, we do a lot of our work with local municipalities, cities, counties, housing authorities, housing finance corporations, and this project is another good example of one of those partnerships. So, a little bit of background. A lot of this may be repetitive, but just some quick background on the project is we submitted this for what's called 9% low-income housing tax credits, which are an equity source that helps finance affordable housing projects. About that time in 2021, the hospital created the Public Facility Corporation, which through that structure is allowed to own real estate and provide 100% property tax exemption through these transactions. And so, it was about a four-year process to get this project closed. But this project was closed in the fall of 2024 using a combination of tax credits, support from the near south side TERS, as well as a small construction and permanent loan that will help finance the project. So a little bit of background again on the project we're talking about, 67 total units. There's about 2,200 square feet of retail space. I toured the space today. It looks really great. I saw there's CBRE's already marketing that space on the corner of Magnolia and Bryan as well. So they've been talking with me as well, trying to get some background information, but they're working on identifying a tenant for that space. And then as you guys are very well aware, this is adjacent to a lot of your future expansions of the hospital as well. So here's a rendering. Just real quick on the commercial space, as I touched on, it's about 2,200 square feet. There is no rent that is being paid by the hospital district. It's just, the common area utilities are individually metered away from the residents. And then, as I mentioned, I've been in talks with the folks at CBRE that are working on marketing this space for y'all as an additional revenue source currently. I'd encourage y'all to go out there if you haven't had a chance to drive by. As I mentioned, construction is going very, very quickly and going very well. That is something that is very pleasant to see based off what we've experienced in the last few years. A lot of construction projects have been behind. A lot of construction projects have been over budget. There was a lot of concern that tariffs could impact construction costs. We are not seeing that on any scale on this project. Everything's moving quicker than expected. It's moving forward on budget. And as I mentioned, we were originally looking at units being available in March of 2026. Because we're moving so quickly, we're expecting that we're going to be completely done prior to the end of the year. So in December, we will have all those units available. Obviously, with the new year, it'll get a little hectic with move-ins and stuff, but we're looking at moving folks in late December into January of 2026. But you can see there, the exteriors are basically complete. We're already putting in cabinets, granite countertops. Appliances are coming in the next week. I think power is 1 to 2 weeks out. So it's moving really, really well. And again, it's looking really, really great out there. So just to touch on, again, some of the amenities that residents will have access to. Again, we're going to have a business center for residents, a fitness center. Children's after-school care will be through our children's activity room. And then all the units, are going to be similar to any market rate apartment building you'd see down the street, right? There's going to be granite countertops, balconies. Even some of the units facing Magnolia actually have walk-up step front porches, which is very unique on projects like this. But again, everything is going to be very similar to what you'd see at the Mag and May project just down the street. And then just one other thing to touch on is our resident services program. So this is something we provide at all of our communities. It is no additional charge to the residents. It's paid for through the tax credits that are used to finance these projects. And so in addition to providing just rooftops, the goal of these projects is to also provide support services for our residents. And really, those are tailored to the needs of each individual community. So when we get to about 40 to 50% complete, we survey the residents at the community. We have a laundry list of services with our third-party supportive services coordinator that they can provide. And really see what makes the most sense at each location based on the needs of the residents at that property. So the after-school program is something we do everywhere. We've got the space there. The support team is going to provide that service, but you can see under that some of the additional services. In some cases, English as a second language assistance is much more prevalent than what we'd see in other development sites. And so those are services we can tailor to the individual community based on the needs of the resident and continue to tailor as new residents move in, new residents move out, so on and so forth. So just an update on the timeline. Again, we closed this project and started construction last fall. We're looking at completing construction here in December. So 14, 15 months up and down, which is pretty remarkable for a project like this. And as you can see, we're kind of hitting that point in the fall where we're going to start pre-leasing soon. And so did just want to touch on this. We've been working with the JPS marketing team and trying to get them all the materials they need. As some of you may remember, due to fair housing laws, we are not able to set aside units for JPS employees. However, we are doing everything in our power to help assist JPS employees in finding these opportunities as soon as they're available. So what that looks like is working with the marketing team to get this one-pager out regarding FAQs, in terms of what documentation needs to be provided to demonstrate your income, what will the amenities be at the property, what kind of units are available at the property. That is something we're working on with the JPS marketing team. And the other thing that we're doing is we've been able to work with our management team to make JPS a preferred employer. And so we have preferred employer discounts where any application fees paid by a JPS employee that ultimately moves into the property will be credited toward their first month rent. And then the more important one is we've been able to get everyone on board with $200 security deposits regardless of floor plans. So typically at a market rate project, you're looking at, a month, maybe a month and a half of a security deposit, somewhere in the range of $1,000 to $1,500. And so by being able to bring that down to only $200, it's very attractive for a prospective resident. So excited that we're able to offer that. Again, we aren't able to set these units aside because of fair housing laws, but we're trying to do everything in our power to assist you guys in, making sure your staff knows about these units as soon as they're available. And so with that said, the website for the project is now live. You can see the link there. It's www.thriveoncrawford.com. Really over the next 30 days, our goal is to help funnel anyone who's interested to that website. There's an opportunity on the website to fill out your name, contact information, and all updates will be sent to those email addresses, and including the dates of when we expect to start leasing, when move-ins will be available, and so on and so forth. So right now, our goal really over the next 30 days is helping the JPS marketing team to get this out to the folks that may be interested in living here, make sure that they get registered on the website, and then that'll give them the information they need to, be ready to fill out an application when that time comes. And so with that said, I think that is all I have prepared, but happy to answer any questions from y'all, and appreciate you having me here today. Yes, sir.
Since I'm a JPS employee.
You're a volunteer.
You get paid in cookies, Ralph.
So you can't offer any introductory waive first month, second month, move in?
So that makes it very tough on the financial side of the project as well, which would also impact the JPS side as well. So really the best that we can do is offer that discounted security deposit, and then additionally the application fees can add up. So there's an opportunity to count those towards that first month rent. But that's really all that we're capable within the confines of fair housing laws.
The difficulty, Reverend Emerson, would be because of fair housing, if we did any programmatic decisions relative to what a JPS resident or employee might have to be able to access, they would have to offer it across the entire property. And that would obviously affect our revenue stream as well. But they've done a great job of making sure we have pre-marketing materials ready for the JPS staff and residents. And as Max said, the discount on the application fees going toward the product. I mean, they've done a good job of being able to get us as close as we can to giving preference to JPS employees.
I was working toward our future, just in case I get kicked out. I was trying to find
You want a ground floor or you want? Other questions for Max?
Could you repeat what the buyout percentage refers to, 93.25%?
So on that slide, that just accounts for what percentage of construction materials have been purchased at that point in time. So it's something that our construction team uses as a gauge to say, where are we at in terms of contingency, where are we at in terms of, construction busting. So the fact that we're 94% purchased and we're in line with our budget is a good sign that we're not going to be over budget on this project.
I've got a couple questions. There's several new folks on the board. So could you run us through kind of the finance side of this, how JPS is involved and the land and what your relationship is?
Sure.
What the strategy looks like?
Yeah. And I don't know that my slides have a ton that I can show on that, but long story short, so we do a lot of affordable housing development across the country, across the state. That's really, as a company, our focus is on these public-private partnerships. And so they are financed using low-income housing tax credits. This project is what's called a 9% tax credit. I won't bore you with all the details, but essentially what that means is you go through a competitive process through the state of Texas, the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, which we did back in 2021 to apply for these tax credits. And so the best way of really thinking about this is on a 9% tax credit project, it's about a $20 million project. About 70% of it is financed through the equity of selling those tax credits to a national bank. So the way I like to explain it is if you were looking at purchasing a single-family home, if you were able to buy that home with 70% equity and 30% debt, it's very attractive to you, right? And so that's what makes these tax credits very competitive. We were lucky that due to the location of this project, proximity to jobs, and a handful of other factors that are determined at the state level, that this project was competitive, which meant that we were awarded a tax credit reservation by the state. So then at that point, this was kind of all going on at the same time. There is a section of the Texas Legislative Code, Chapter 303, that allows cities, housing authorities, and special districts, which are defined as taxing entities. So obviously JPS being the taxing entity, taxing hospital district of Tarrant County, you are able to form a public facility corporation, hence this meeting here, which allows you to provide 100% tax exemptions to offer things like housing or things that help support your mission. And so at that time, we had been working with the JPS team because this project was originally an RFP on this land to help diversify income sources for the hospital. And so, the previous group that was working on this project was struggling to make something work. They identified us to come in and help, look at opportunities to, further develop this site. And that's when we figured out that this 9% tax credit program looked like it would score competitively and be an opportunity to do just that, right? Help redevelop the area and provide a diversified income stream for the hospital. And so JPS, through its public facility corporation, serves as the owner of the property. It is leased then to a partnership formed between NRP, the public facility corporation, and a tax credit investor. As I mentioned, we will manage this project ongoing. Due to the tax credits that go into financing this project, there's a 15-year compliance period where we are not able to sell the project. So we will be long-term holders of this project for a minimum of 15 years. But that is kind of the structure of what allows JPS to serve in this transaction as the owner, as the general partner. But I don't know if there's any more questions based on that. I'm happy to.
15 years, I thought JPS had the right to 5 years.
That's correct. Yeah. So a lot of these partnerships differ. The way this is structured with JPS is that you guys would have the opportunity to own the asset at the end of that compliance period for a minimum fee of debt plus taxes. So instead of the other way to do this is based off a fair market value, which would be a higher cost to the public facility corporation, to the hospital. The way this partnership is set up is that you would have the ability to own that at just the debt plus taxes, which is likely in the range of $2 to $3 million in 15 years. And the other thing that I failed to mention is the commercial space is 2,200 square feet that, again, CBRE is working on leasing that space on behalf of y'all. But that is an additional revenue source through this project that y'all would be able to tap into as well.
Any updates on that commercial space? Any prospects?
I do not.
Our side or?
I've been working with Lewis Bedford from the JPS side, and then they've connected me with the CBRE folks to help answer some questions. I haven't heard any updates myself. I've communicated to them that if they want to make it out to the site and do any site visits, site tours, we're happy to help accommodate. But at this stage, I don't have any update beyond that.
Jill, Dustin, let me ask Jill to answer that question, because on our side of the aisle, we're working on that too.
Yeah, because I work with David at CBRE, David Walters as well. We've also been working with Near Southside because they've had some leads for us, and so we are working with those particular leads because they're really in tune to the people that are looking for space in this Near Southside area. So we work with them as well.
Can you define net plus taxes? What does that mean?
So there's going to be a very small permanent loan on the project, somewhere in the range of $3 million. And, we will be paying ongoing interest payments towards that, principal and interest payments towards that loan. But at the end of the period, you guys would only have to pay the outstanding balance on that debt to own the asset. We can get you guys a calculation as to what that would be estimated to be. But instead of appraising the project at $5-10 million and then being responsible for paying off that higher cost, you only have to pay the outstanding debt and taxes to acquire the building.
What is taxes? You said debt plus taxes?
Yeah.
What does that mean, taxes?
It's kind of like franchise taxes. It's very minimal in the scheme of things. Really the debt is the heavy portion of it.
That's all defined in all the agreements.
Correct, yeah. And we can, if helpful, we can help estimate what that cost would be, but we typically do these partnerships. What is more attractive from a development side is if there's a way to make that fee be fair market value, because then we would share in some of the return. But when it's debt plus taxes, there's no benefit to us at the end of the 15-year period. It would just be a benefit to y'all to own that at a much lower cost.
And don't think of it as property taxes, Blake. It's not, it's a tax exempt project. So it's not like you would add up the property taxes that haven't been
We're
paid.
not talking about income tax.
No.
Refunding tax credit.
Mm-mm.
What's the total construction cost of this project approximately?
About $22 million.
So fair market value in 15 years could be double that.
Very well could be, yeah, correct.
So effectively, we own the land, we partner with you guys to build it. Y'all made a fee for 15 years, and we get the ability to exit. My question is, we buy it, that value,
Yeah,
and operate it.
that's right.
Yeah, plus there was there a cash upfront payment also to JPS, or was it a portion max of annual
Not yet, we're
revenues?
supposed to get a portion of the developer fee.
Portion of
Yeah.
the fee, yeah.
So the other main fees that JPS will receive is once we start occupying units, I can't remember the exact definition of the documents, but the lease will start kicking in. There's an annual lease payment that will be paid to JPS, which starts at $100,000, grows 3% annually. And then separate from that, there's a portion of both the developer fee and cash flow that as soon as the project's able to pay that out, and another big chunk of that will go to JPS in both the development fee and the cash flow portion as well.
Do we have any anticipated income on what this will produce us?
Yeah,
Once it's stabilized?
We do, and I didn't bring it with me, Dustin, but I mean, we get a portion of that rent every year for the entire 15. And do you remember, Max, what the total was? I'll have to go back and look at my spreadsheet. I've slept since then.
I don't off the top of my head, but I mean, I think the lease payment over 15 years ends, especially with the 3% growth, ends up being about $2 to $2.5 million over
I was
the
going to
next
say we're
15
around
years.
$2.5 million.
Yeah,
Plus, I mean, this was a this was a good decision for JPS. Now, this was a negotiated deal, right? I mean, and it was hard. These guys have to make their finance people happy, and we have to make JPS whole and happy. And I want to thank Max, because he personally put a gigantic amount of time into this, but as did bond counsel and many others, to make sure that JPS came out of this not only with a product consistent with our mission, but with a revenue stream. It was always about creating additional new revenue streams, and the added benefit is we also get an opportunity for our employees and our residents to be able to have an opportunity to lease these units, which really give us quite a leg up. And I've been doing a lot of public finance corporation work in my career with cities and with the business that I run. And it is really an excellent opportunity for tax exempt entities to go out and create new revenue streams. The downside always is, well, you take it off the property tax rate, and that's true. But because of the way this deal is structured with the AMIs, the 30, 50, 60 AMIs, we're really serving a need in the South Side District as well. So it meets a housing need, and that helps offset the loss of any ad valorem dollars. And we certainly have more than accomplished that with what we negotiated into the revenue stream. So good project. And Max, my only question is, can you move across the street and start on a hospital?
I was just going to say the same thing.
yeah. Daphne said the same thing. Do we build hospitals? Unfortunately, not at this point, but I can present it to our president of construction.
Well, you
Get
guys
some
have done a
feedback.
great job.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really excited about it. Again, we're looking at being complete towards the end of this year. We'll be in touch with y'all, but I think our expectation would be early next year. We would have a ribbon cutting or a grand opening event. Would love to have you all out to see the project and, see the success that we've done over the last 5 years, so.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to be a part of a groundbreaking and a ribbon cutting. This project has moved quickly. A year ago, we were all getting together and doing a ribbon cutting.
It's moved quickly once it closed. Before that, it felt like it was taking
A
forever.
long time to
but
get to the ground.
yes.
It really did. Blake?
And Trent, JPS is only cash up pocket, we own the land,
Right.
and then legal fees,
That's right.
but we haven't put any cash into the project.
No. No, not at all.
And we actually didn't pay, the legal fees are expense of the project, so they're actually rolled into that. We didn't pay those out of pocket.
So just the land was our investment.
Yep, and it was land that didn't have a particularly good use relative to our needs, but it was, to this need, almost perfect in terms of location. Other questions for Max? Max, we appreciate you being here.
Happy to be here.
Let us know when it's time to cut a ribbon.
You
We'll
bet.
all come back out and celebrate with you, and we can't wait to see reports on what opportunities this results for JPS residents and employees, because I hope that we get an opportunity to put some of our folks in here, because it's awfully close, awfully convenient
Agreed.
for the hospital.
That's the big thing I would just stress if you're talking to other folks at the hospital is really this next 30 days is direct everyone to that website, right? Because once they're on that website, once they sign up for notifications, every update they will receive to their email, to their phone. But we just got to make sure we get everyone to that website to register interest in the project. So thank you all for having me here.
Once you register, are you in a queue, or is it gonna be random who gets what part?
So all that does is register your interest in the community. So you'll be receiving email updates. You can even sign up for text updates on the next steps in terms of when applications will go live. Again, due to fair housing rules, it is first come, first serve in terms of the applications we receive on the day that that the application period goes live, which is why our focus right now is get that information out to the folks who need it in the next 30 days ahead of that date, so that when they get the notification, hey, we're going live, that they have everything ready and they can submit their application that day.
Is there any prohibition against promoting this among our employees?
Yeah,
We can tell them about it.
absolutely, yeah. And that's, yeah, we've been working with Dawn and her team on the communication side about getting the message out to employees as well. But, you know, the website is open to anyone. Anyone can go on the website and register their interest, but, you know, we're working with y'all, especially with that preferred employer program, to help get the word out to JPS employees.
So Ralph, you got your website, right?
Yeah, you better get your application.
I went outside.
All right, this is not an item that we have to vote on, but Max, thank you for being here for the report.
Thank you all.
Look forward to hearing from you again. Next time we see you, we're going to be cutting a ribbon.
Celebrating.
So
That's
thank-
right.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you guys have put into this.
We appreciate the partnership and look forward to, you know, cutting the ribbon. So thank you guys.
Fantastic. We only have one item of business since we do have a quorum now, and that is to approve the minutes from our October 24 meeting. The PFC only meets on an as-needed basis, and our last meeting was last October. So we need a motion to approve those minutes, and we'll be done. Need a motion from DT, second from Tim. Did you make a second? Any question or discussion? No, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you all. Appreciate you being here today. And is there some lunch available if you want to grab it before the board meeting?
Hope there is.
There you
I
go.
think there is.
You're adjourning.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'm hoping we can get some of our residents.